This build that I made is pretty godlike. This thing is very, very good, and it's not even ready yet. So what I did was I made a hybrid tank and healer. So I guess you could call it a paladin. I'm using life staff and also sword and shield. You could use any weapon you want, but the main reason why I'm using sword and shield was because I wanted to make sure that I could have an actual like working taunt that I could realistically rely on. And also, I wanted to go full heavy armor to see what that's like as far as survivability. And so far, so good. So let's show off the build here. I'm gonna start off with the weapons. So sword and shield, of course. So we're starting with this. There's a few things that I haven't got yet that I would love to get, but I don't know if I'm gonna have enough time during this beta to actually achieve those. But let me talk about what I have, and after playing around with all these abilities, I definitely enjoy these the most. So I'm using two abilities from this Swordmaster line. It's the reverse stab and also whirling blade. The thing I like about the reverse stab is I landed up getting a perk on one of my pieces of gear. So let me see if I can find it. This one right here, contagious reverse stab. So it says reverse stab transfers an active debuff from myself to the target. So let's say, for example, if you get a blood on you, like a bleeding or something, you know, it's ticking away at you, you can use reverse stab to give the bleeding back to the mob. So it's so goddamn good. That's the main reason why I'm running it, and the main reason why I got it. So I usually hold off on pressing reverse stab until a mob puts the debuff on me, and then I give it to them. You know, so that's how I use it. Whirling blade is really nice because it's a really awesome AOE, and it also has some really nice perks. Like this one here, whirling blade causes 5% rend to the target, so that reduces their armor. On top of this here, where the whirling blade reduces the cooldown for each enemy hit by 10%. So what I like to do is I like to AoE herd. So I'll bring a bunch of mobs together, let them gather up, and then I do it, and then it's like an instant cooldown at that point. Like it's extremely fast how much it recharges. So I could sit there pretty much kinda, spamming whirling blade. So it's really cool to do that. Also, I think I also got a perk for that. Let me double check. Right here, empowering whirling blade. I got it on the weapon. So base damage is increased by 20% while performing a whirling blade attack if 3 or more enemies are present. So I already said I'm AoE hurting. So I usually pull like 5 to 6 people. I pull as much as I can. Usually like in the town, if I'm like trying to like get a bunch of chests or do a mission or whatever, I pull as much as I can just so I could be able to make this work for me. And I'll sit there just spamming the whirling blade. It's beautiful. 3 other things I picked up was this one right here. Successful heavy attacks give you 30% in power. That's really good, so that increases your damage for 5 seconds. So I usually open up with a heavy attack and then just do a bunch of light attacks until the mob is dead. This is another really nice one that stacks with that. When you block an attack, it gives you 10% increase to damage for 20 seconds. This one is even better to open up with. So what I like to do is when I do my herding, I'll bring them all together. I'll hold the block one time just so I can get the buff, and then I'll go like spam crazy on the AoEs with whirling blade, and then I try to mix in a little heavy attack just to get a little bit more damage on top of that. So it's beautiful. And then this one, while health is full, deal 15% more damage, so even more damage on top of all the damage you're already getting. And it's been really rare to go down below half health, because for the most part I'm always topped off with the life staff. So we'll get to that in a second. On this side, I picked up a shield bash, and the only reason why I picked it up is because of the taunt gem. That it makes it do like an AoE taunt when you use this ability. And this one has the lowest cooldown. This one over here, Defiant Stance, is pretty nice for like a a defensive thing, but I haven't really needed it, so I got it out of my build, and I landed up transferring all the taunting to shield bash because this has a really long cooldown on top of it, 45 seconds. So I prefer to use the shield bash for a taunt instead. And on with that, in order for it to be like an actual legitimate taunt, which this also, by the way, doubles as a stun, as you can see there, for 2 seconds, which is not the big deal for me. I mainly got it for the taunt. So on the actual gems, which I made a mistake and I ended up getting calming instead on my helmet, and I have no idea how to remove it. As far as I understand, you cannot remove gems. Once you put them in there, that's it, it's over. So the only way to get rid of it is to get a new piece, and I just haven't found anything good enough. So on the weapon, I ended up putting the taunting. So I have taunting 2, and increases your threat by 200%. So that's pretty nice. But the one that is supposed to be put in there from the actual thing, it says Carnelian Gem. I don't know how to equip that, and then also it's very, very difficult to find that on the auction house at the moment. The only one that I saw that was available was like $1,000 on there, and I was like, no, I'm not doing that. So I ended up passing on that, and I'm just using the taunting gem, and it's still been pretty good. Like it's not bad. So I keep shield bashing the tray in the hopes that eventually I will get that gem, but it's alright. It's not a big deal though. I noticed that I still hold aggro pretty well, judging from the last dungeon I did. This right here grants additional 15% physical armor. This is, of course, very beneficial to the build, so that's why I got it. Eventually, I would like to get this one down here, Final Blow. So the third attack on your light attacks give you not only the 50% more damage, but also taunts better. So it causes more threat. So that's good. There's a few others here, like this one, the stamina is reduced for blocking on both. Like I think there was one for ranged and melee. This one is melee, and then this one gives you 4 to 5 from a block. So that's really good. So eventually I would like to get all the passives, because there's a lot of really good passives in the Defender line, but I just haven't got that far. Alright, but let's go over to Life Staff now. On the Life Staff line, I did pretty much an identical build to what I did in my Rapier build. I did basically the Sacred Ground, which is very, very good, and I got the one underneath it that increases the stamina regen and the mana regen. I liked that one when I was using it with my mage, so it worked really well. So I decided to try it again with this, and this works pretty awesome, especially when you're fighting, let's say, like a boss that hits extremely hard and you need to block. I would usually like block and then let go of block so I can regenerate, and my stamina, it pretty much stays capped off because of the Holy Ground, so it works really well. These passives right here are really important too. Life Staff, Light Attack, and Heavy Attack don't cost mana. That's very, very important. This one right here, Light Attacks now heal for 20% of the weapon damage. So basically you can shoot it at the ground and it'll heal not only you but everybody that stands in the circle. So it works really well. It's not 100% necessary for what you're doing here, but I like it because especially when you're waiting for, like, let's say the beacon to recharge or something, or maybe your cooldown is like a few seconds off on the Sacred Ground, I would spam this on the ground to like really top myself off if I'm taking too much damage. On here, Revitalize is really good, so when you hit with a light attack, you reduce the cooldowns of the abilities. So if I wanted to sit there and actually just spam light attack for like this situation, for example, when I'm trying to heal up, it helps towards lowering the cooldowns of the abilities. So it's really, really good. Orb of Protection is very, very important. I love this spell a lot. Mainly because I do the same thing like I do with the light attacks. I would toss it on the ground, and it will not only give you a fortify buff, so increasing your defense for 15%, but it also heals you over time on top of that. And it's mainly because of this perk right here. So over 10 seconds, it's just going to keep healing you over time based on the weapon's damage. And since I went with a more focus-driven build with this, the healing is very good on it. These and then on the last ability is Beacon. So I started using Beacon. I was using the Light's Embrace, but the biggest problem with the Light's Embrace is that it costs a lot of mana. Like when you start spamming that, it would drain you of mana really quick. So you got to be careful with that one. So instead, I moved over to Beacon because the cool thing about this is that not only could you just toss it on the ground where your Sacred Ground is and get the double healing from the AoE, but also You can put it on an enemy or on a friendly target, and it will follow them around. So it's a really cool ability, because it's just like getting constant healing off of whatever target you throw it on. This one right here, Life Staff, light and heavy attacks give you Fortify by 15% for 3 seconds. So this goes along with what I was saying earlier with the spamming away at a target. It's beautiful because it gives you the Fortify buff on top of you're getting healing while throwing your life staff, like while shooting the light attacks. So it's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I really like that one a lot. It's a nice combo. And then if you have a food buff, you heal for 10% more, which is a no-brainer. You always should be running food, so this works really good. All right, but that's all I have so far. Eventually, when this game goes live, I'm gonna get all the weapons to level 20 and do like a real, true endgame kind of build. But until then, this is the build, and this has been working very well. Now let's talk about attributes. In attributes here, I went all in on focus. So I did everything I possibly could with focus. I even bought gear to give me focus and strength. I was trying to prioritize focus, but I found mostly pieces that were the hybrid stats. So it was like the focus strength type things. So I went full into focus as much as I could with the attributes. So I pumped it all in. Once I reached 150, I started putting points in the strength, and that's where you see me right now. So I'm 73 and 159, and it's been really good with the healing, especially if you can get it to the points where it reaches these thresholds like this. It works really well. You see, like this one increases 20% of the healing output, so that's really good for the healing overall, because you're gonna basically double as a healer in these groups that you join. On top of, you can also tank, so it's absolutely beautiful. Let's talk about the gear. So gear is the one place where I'm not happy with it at all. I just got this because I was trying really hard to make this build work with what I had envisioned in my mind, but it just it didn't work out perfect. So you see, I'm using a level 6 shield because I wanted to get the hated. You generate 7% more threat. I was trying really hard to find something that was higher level with hated on it, but there was a lot of people on the auction house putting crack dealer prices of like fucking $10,000 for the shield that's only like level 30, you know, like dumb shit like that. So I decided not to do that. So I went ahead and I bought a level 6 one. Everything else, very low level stuff, level 20, level 22. This one's 40, you know, so like it's all over the place. But the main focus was trying to get focus and strength. So that was the main thing. You see, like even the shield has intelligence on it. That's a useless stat for this build I'm doing right now. So I tried as best as I could, but it just didn't work out during this beta. And then I accidentally put calming on there. Don't do that. Learn from me, don't do that. You see, I actually misinterpreted the ability that I was trying to do, like this one here. You see how this has, it says Carnelian Gem, makes it so that's an AoE taunt. I mistyped it and saw calming and immediately bought it because I was like, ooh, $400? That's cheap. And I bought it, and it was the wrong one. So yeah, it was just a dumb mistake I did. So don't make that same mistake. You can also get the taunting like I did on the sword, so that works out. So it actually helps you out a little bit. But yeah. And then I also got hated on the actual life staff itself, which actually helps, because what I like to do is I like to pull with the life staff. So when there's mobs around, I would start throwing, throwing a light attack at all the mobs in the area, just to tag them, to pull them to me. And then after that, I switch over to sword and shield and just start whooping some ass. So it worked out pretty well with that. But yeah, that's the build. And for the most part, you know, I haven't been using potions a whole lot. I use it as emergencies, and these are the potions I got from the faction vendor. I built this build in a way so that I would never need to pop a potion ever. And for the most part, I haven't needed to do that. It's only under dire, extreme, like, situations where, like, if I'm getting really my ass whooped, then I might pop a potion as a last resort, but that's usually how I play this character. So yeah, it's been pretty nice. And then for foods, I just pop whatever the hell I have. This one is, you know, as long as I'm getting the 1% health every 2 seconds, like I don't really care what it is. So yeah, that's the build. All right, so what I was gonna do is we're gonna go to some areas and just start doing some random stuff. I'm gonna show you a little bit of what this works like, maybe do some AoEing or something. So I'm gonna try to find an area where I could really test this out. One of the mobs I was always scared of all the time, especially when I was playing the mage class, was these guys, these ghosts. They were always a pain in the ass. Watch how easy mode this is now. I mean, I am 41, but still. Like, watch how easy. Like, there's no way this thing is gonna kill me. No way. Especially, like, if I actually try if I actually try to, like, play this properly, forget it. Like, you see, like, there's just no way this mob is ever gonna kill me. I could just sit here, I can go AFK, go get a drink, go to the bathroom. When I was on my mage build, I would always be afraid of these guys because they just come out of nowhere and beat the shit out of you. Especially when they hit you with the stun attack. Forget it, man. I was having a hard time. So it's nice to play this type of build where I'm just so invincible that it's just everything's a joke pretty much. Like even those two, those little gremlin gargoyle things were a pain in the ass too. Let's pull everything. Come on. Let's test it out. Come on. Come on. Come on. Where's the gargoyle thing? Come on, guys. Gather around. Gather around, boys. You two? Alright. Now watch. So this is how I usually play it. Well, if they don't fucking stun me over and over. Okay, watch. Bam. See, you see how nice beacon is? You can put it on the enemy, and then it just stays floating on them. It's so good. But you see how easy that was? Okay. Alright, let's throw some heals on the ground. As long as I'm standing in the circle, you're pretty much like invincible. Alright, here we go. I'm gonna start spamming some fucking A. I'm like stuck now. Sometimes you may need to block every once in a while, at least to stop the alpha attack, because when they do their stun, you'll literally get stuck. So that's something you have to watch out for. So usually what I like to do is just mix it up with some dodges. I don't really block a whole lot, you know, like it's something I don't really care for. Let me let my health go up. But blocking is really nice to do every once in a while. That way you can just kind of avoid some of the super attacks. Because the hard thing about AoE farming in this game is that they don't take a break from like taking turns to do heavy attacks on you. So sometimes they will do it all at the same time, which is devastating to take that kind of damage. So you have to be really careful with that. Also, I didn't go with any Constitution in this build at all. Like, if I accidentally got Constitution from one of my pieces, I guess that works, but I didn't bother with Constitution, mainly because I wanted to just be able to outlast the mobs through healing. You know, and I feel like this works actually perfect. You see, I could throw down Beacon, and then just continue on with my... Oh my fuck, they keep knocking me back. But you see that? Every time they do those stun abilities, that's the thing that could really ruin your day. So it's still a challenge to play this build, even though it still technically isn't that bad. Especially if you're soloing mobs, like one-on-one, it's a joke. It's a joke how easy it is. Like this build is extremely good with that. You see, like, this is a joke right here. No problem at all. That's why I usually like to AoE farm. I'll pull a lot of mobs because I'm just trying to, like, increase the difficulty basically of my class and really see what it can handle. Tank DPS, 900 defense, 900 magic, UJOE and DPS, looking for a group. What the fuck? This guy wrote a resume to join the easiest dungeon in the game. Oh my god. See, this is literally why I made the build that I did here, is so I could show people that you don't need a very specific build to do dungeons. You really don't. It's not like that, especially that one out of all of them. I haven't tried all the other like really late game ones, but like that first dungeon is like the easiest dungeon in the game. Like you could literally tank and spank. The only time that you're gonna have any kind of remote difficulty is the final boss. That's it. The final boss hits hard, so you either need to block or you need to dodge his abilities. That's it. Other than that, easy. Everything. Tank and spank. You could probably go in with a full group of DPS and one healer and still do well. If you have like a group that understands how to take aggro. Because even as a DPS, you still need to understand how to actually tank a little bit. You know what I mean? Because you need to be able to get the concept of like, oh, if I have aggro, don't stand there and be dumb and take all the damage. You need to either dodge or you need to block. But in most cases, as a DPS, you're probably not going to block, you're going to dodge. So you need to time those dodges, just like in Dark Souls. So if you get like a competent group of like pure DPS, you could totally do it. Like it's totally possible. You could probably even have a group of 5 people that are pure DPS with no healer and be able to do it if you all are on the same level as far as skill. You know, and that's why I really like this game a lot, because like it shows that this game is built on you learning how to play your character instead of you just tab targeting and fucking doing this. Watch. Doing this shit. Like just mindlessly standing there. Don't block. Don't dodge. Just, this is old MMOs. You do that in old MMOs. Not in this game. Unless you have this build, of course. Alright, but that's the build. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Leave a thumbs up if you liked it. Thumbs down if you didn't. And I will see you guys when this game actually launches, because I think I'm going to take a break. I'm probably going to be posting a lot of other random videos that I've already worked on. But for the most part, I think I'm done playing New World just because I need to stop before the addiction takes over my soul. Anyway, have a good one, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Later.